Hi, I'm Tim Lucier. It's September 10th, 2025. Unfortunately, Charlie Kirk has been shot, and at this point, video shows that I don't think he's made it. It's not confirmed that he's been killed, but the video out of Utah when he's speaking at a public rally, engaging in free speech, looks like somebody killed him. It's not confirmed yet, but horrific. So we have to condemn this political violence. I mean, they tried to assassinate Trump multiple times. They killed an attendee at the rally and came within inches of killing now President Trump, candidate Trump back then. Charlie Kirk somehow is called divisive, but was a patriot. I'll say is because it's not confirmed, but I've known Charlie for many years, actually. I was a former paid Trump staffer, number 90, basically, in 2016. I was one of the first 100 staffers to work for President Trump, and nobody worked harder than Charlie Kirk and what he did, turning his free speech conservative movement called Turning Points USA, the idea that college students should be civilly engaged on college campuses. I mean, what a novel idea. And because of that, it looks like they've killed him. To paraphrase the idea or the saying of another martyr, you can kill a man, but you can not kill an idea. And Charlie Kirk now has been martyred because he believed in free speech. He believed in the American exceptional idea of free markets and free people, constitutional republic, that our rights come from God, not from government. The states credit the federal government, not the other way around. That our Constitution limits what the government can do over us, and that states should have the most control, not the federal government, especially not DC. And he basically, through Turning Point USA action in 2024 election, basically won the Western swing states. That's what he was basically put in charge of. And so his final effort was creating a culture of conservative students that were engaged in free speech. And what a life. Younger than me. I've been now 20 years in political campaigns, helped elect presidents, one president, President Trump, U.S. senators, congressmen, and this guy created Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, and a lot of other things. So I was queuing up a video here. I'm not as tech savvy. I don't have a podcast studio. So I'm smiling in memory of him. It's not confirmed, but I don't think he's made it. I was a college, debate coach at Hawaii Pacific University. I debated for things I didn't believe in. I debated the opposite of opinions that I believed in. Being able to debate the opposite opinion of what you believe in means that you can actually understand what you believe in. I went to college in Hawaii when Obama was becoming president. I was not a fan of Obama. I thought he was too far left. I thought he was too far socialist. Those are buzzwords. I didn't want him to be assassinated. I never called for him or political violence. And yet I coached the debate team when he became president. I actually debated for him winning the Nobel Peace Prize, which he got before he became president. A lot of leftists, liberals, Democrats never understood the conservative movement or questioning somebody like Obama. It wasn't racism. It was not liking more socialist ideas. And we do have a free market here mostly. And some Democrat policies are, more socialist or more big government. Big government screws up our lives. That was one of Turning Points USA's buttons that they have. But I don't know what we're going to do as a country when they came within inches of killing President Trump. They're obviously still trying to. Our foreign enemies are. Our domestic enemies, apparently today, shot Charlie Kirk. So I saw Charlie Kirk actually last June, right for the election in Detroit, Michigan, of all places, which we did flip for the conservative Republican candidate. President Trump won Michigan. I saw him when I was helping candidates in Michigan. And, just everyone will remember that huge happy smile, that happy warrior. And, that guy went everywhere to debate people. Wasn't mean-spirited. He wasn't a mean-spirited person. He had no hate in his heart. So just sad that the political rhetoric. And sure, Trump says a lot of dumb things sometimes. I mean, the guy's spoken more than hundreds of thousands of words. Okay, but Trump today is not trying to promote assassinating our opponents. And for some reason, we're having a leftist, violent attack on peaceful citizens. We had that in North Carolina when a woman from Ukraine was stabbed to death by a violent career criminal. One of Charlie Kirk's final tweets was about her. Actually, most of his tweets were about her because it was so senseless that somebody had her throat slit. A Ukrainian refugee who escaped the war and came here, and she had her throat slit by a career criminal. 15 arrests, 15 violent, many violent arrests. And yet today, Charlie also had his throat shot and I think killed, based on what the video I saw, which is so horrific. Haven't been this emotional since Trump was almost assassinated and Corey was killed at the Butler, Pennsylvania rally. That's actually coming up a year, that's a year anniversary, I think, we just had. I guess just to wrap this video up, one of my favorite Charlie Kirk stories, when I was with him pretty early on, President Trump invited us to a pretty big speech. It was kind of a DC invite-only event, and it's kind of self-assigned seating, and there's some kind of VIP seating in the middle. And I think Charlie was not a VIP then, although he sure grew to be so incredible, just his movement. So I was off on one side and Charlie was off on another side, and kind of both at the same time, we both kind of noticed that there's some better seating if we kind of moved to the center tables. So he was off on one side, I was off on one side, and I kind of felt entitled. I was a former paid Trump staffer, number 90 basically. I was top first 100 that worked for Trump in 2016, and I was kind of like, yeah, I think I should get a little better seating here. It's open seating, whatever. I'm gonna get a little better open seating. So I had this idea. I'm like, okay, if I kind of keep my head low, I can kind of jump over tables a little bit. Well, while I was doing that, I saw this tall guy, about my height, doing the same thing, and we kind of met in the middle, and then all of a sudden we're at these open seats, and then there's the gate basically, and there's President Trump on the stage speaking. So we're the closest to President Trump speaking, and this was right after he got elected, so it had to have been about 2017. And Charlie and I don't know each other, we kind of look at each other, we kind of both popped up at this table, and all of a sudden President Trump is pointing towards us, and he's like, I'd like to thank the nuns right here. I'd like to thank the pastors are right here. And Charlie and I are like looking at each other, and we're like, oh, we just snuck over to the VIP table. Like, we're not supposed to be here. And so I'm slinking in my chair. Charlie's tall like me, he's slinking in his chair, and President Trump's pointing to our table, like right behind us. Pastor Chuck Hagee's there, Dr. James Dobson is there, who just passed, God bless him. And we're like, oh, President Trump's looking at me, pointing at me, and he's pointing the view behind me. And we're like, we're not supposed to be here, but you don't want to move away once you sit down. And all of a sudden, and I live streamed this, and I have the video here, President Trump honored this little boy who lost his father, who's a Marine in an airplane accident. And this little boy met Trump at Arlington Cemetery, National Cemetery, previously, and the iconic photo of him in the Marine Corps uniform. And all of a sudden, I'm here live streaming President Trump speaking. First time President Trump, like a couple months into his first term. And Charlie and I are there, and all of a sudden President Trump points to this little Marine boy, and he's like, I would like to thank this young boy and his sacrifice of his father. And I have this video, I'll just wrap up with this, of President Trump honoring this little boy and his sacrifice of losing his father, the Marine. And this little boy, and I'm 2 feet from him, Charlie's 2 feet from him, Chuck Hagee and James Dobson are 2 feet. And this little boy President Trump says, and I'd like little Jacob to stand up. And this little boy goes to his mother, he goes, I don't want to stand up. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, President Trump is saying hi to me. He's asking me to stand up. And so he stands up in his Marine Corps uniform and receives the respect and admiration of the nation. But real quick, I don't have a podcast going. This is a real quick in memorial. I believe in memorial because I do think we lost Charlie Kirk today. But this is that little video that Charlie Kirk and I witnessed. I mean, we were 2 feet from this little boy who was honored by President Trump. And so I'll just end with this maybe.
Good job. Special. Every day are brave men and women in uniform.
So Charlie and I were right there, just witness to history. And I mean, obviously Charlie did an incredible life, lived an incredible life, and helped win this presidency, which many people in America, as conservatives, think that, President Trump's election saved this country. I mean, we're headed to